Welcome Circle of Care now to give their report. I think Lisa's here and the whole crew, so I'm going to ask Don to come on and get us kicked off into that.
Thank you, Bishop. If you vote 01, if you want me to talk, and 02, no, we don't. We don't go there. The theme of the conference is a bridge to the future. And we at the Circle of Care know that our children and youth are truly the bridge to our future, not only to Circle of Care, but for all of us individually. We don't feel that there's one at-promise child that we can afford not to fulfill their God-given potential. Mark reminded us that in Oklahoma there's a saying that if you're sitting in the shade, you didn't plant the tree. And so we know that what we have today as the Circle of Care came from the labors of many who came before us and the labors of the church. I'd like to take just a moment and introduce one of the gentlemen who helped plant the tree that's grown into what we know today as Circle of Care. He was one of the early executive directors as the Circle of Care was forming from the Youth and Children Ministries. He's currently the national president of the United Methodist Healthcare Association. That's about 344 different Methodist ministries across the nation. So if you'll take a moment and welcome Steve Vinson. Steve.
It's good to be back with you here in Oklahoma. I've been gone since '98, and during that length of time, a lot of waters passed under the bridge for a lot of lives. But I want to tell you that one thing is still the same as it was when I left, and that is the young man whose parents married when they were 18 and then divorced 11 years later, and that young man who went to live with his mom and began using drugs and alcohol at the age of 9, later became a resident in the Circle of Care. Today, that young man is 37 years old, and he's still my son, and he's still alive because of this ministry. And I have pictures of him on my iPhone if you want to see them. It is indeed a distinct pleasure to return today to recognize the Circle of Care. I'm going to ask Don and I guess you're still board chair, Lisa? And Lisa Wright to come forward, if I may. UMA is a family of more than 300 Methodist-related institutional ministries around the country. And this year, we recognize the Circle of Care as the outstanding UMA ministry in the nation. And those more than 300 ministries serve in more than 15,000 locations across our country. That is 15,000 opportunities to be the best. But guess what? The best is right here in Oklahoma. Congratulations to each of you.
Thank you, Steve. Now then, we would like to acknowledge one of our board members, the Reverend Linda Harker, and we are just so blessed to have had Linda on our board. She has brought such wisdom, such questioning to our financial picture, and you know, we really do appreciate that. People need to do that as board members. They need to question what your organization is doing, and we have appreciated her leadership on the board. And Linda, I do have a plaque for you today, if you'd come forward. She's embarrassed, but that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
This says, with grateful appreciation for all that you have done for the children, youth, and families and staff of the Oklahoma United Methodist Circle of Care, while serving on the board of directors from 2006 to 2011, may God continue to bless your journey. something else.
From the kids, we have some extra special gifts. From our independent living program, we have a yearbook. From the United, we have a card from Independent Living. From the United Methodist Children's Home, we have flowers. One of our traditions at the Boys Ranch, whenever a young man becomes top hand, we have a gift that we give them. And this award is only given to the best of the best who come through the Boys Ranch. We honor you, Reverend Linda, for the work, for the wonderful pastor that you have been to us, and the love that you have shown to our kids. God bless you.
As you can see, Linda served as a minister to all of us, and we will miss that. Every year at this time, Circle of Care recognizes those churches whose support of our organization is especially noteworthy. Here are the top 5 churches in terms of per-person giving in 2010, and if you would wait until I read all of them before you give them a round of applause. From the Ardmore District, Allen. From the McAllister District, Waleetka. From the North Oklahoma City District, Nichols Hills. From the McAllister District, Colgate. And from the South Oklahoma City District, Chickasha, Epworth. And now the top 5 giving churches overall. Asbury United Methodist Church in Tulsa, Boston Avenue in Tulsa, Tulsa First, Church of the Servant in Oklahoma City. And listen, here they are again. For the first time in recent memory, we have a church that made both top 5 lists, Epworth and Chickasha. We appreciate your commitment to the Circle of Care, as we do all the churches in our Oklahoma Conference, and we appreciate your support. We have a plaque for each one of these churches, which you can pick up at the Circle of Care booth, and thank you again, and may God bless you. I would now like to introduce the Reverend Mark Howard, our Director of Residential Services.
On any given day in the state of Oklahoma, there are thousands of children who stand in need of someone to care for them. The older the youth, the more difficult it is to find resources to help with their daily living. It is virtually impossible at times to find care for teenagers. And the older they are, the more at risk they are considered. But thanks to you, we have the opportunity to reach out to this age group most in need. And several years ago, economics forced us to restructure our programs. And now we care for more youth than we did before the transition. We are providing services to children and youth all across the state in ways that we never dreamed possible. We're now able to provide intervention services to help families in their individual situations. We're able to wrap our services around the needs of the kids wherever they are, whatever their need. 2 of the counselors at St. Anthony's here in Oklahoma City said last week that the United Methodist Circle of Care is the only agency in Oklahoma willing to work with teenage boys regardless of their situation and regardless of where they live. I wish I could convey to you the magnitude that this change has made in our ministry. I will say to you, it is exciting. It's very exciting. On the screen, you are seeing the names and faces of some of the young people of our independent living program who graduated this year, either from high school, college, or vocational school. And last month at our legacy banquet, we celebrated 14 of those graduations. And what is amazing about these young people is that they were given almost no chance of being in school, let alone graduating. They are a testament to tenacity and the grace of God. They started so far behind the rest of us that even being in the race at this point is nothing short of a miracle. And yet, with your help, they did succeed. In residential services, we currently have 20 young people who are here today who live either at the Boys Ranch or the Children's Home. We have 36 kids who live with us in independent living at our facilities. We are providing services, case management to 35 kids throughout the state in transitional services to help them live better lives. And last month, we were able to do something that we have never done in the past. We were able to provide intervention services for 31 families across the state of Oklahoma. We want to say thank you, and this would not be possible without you. And now I would like for Cody Robinson, one of our newest young people, to come and tell you his story of his journey to us. Cody.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Cody Robinson, and I'm with the Independent Living Program at the United Methodist Children's Home, and I'm also an intern for the NSU Wesley Foundation. If I could take just a few minutes of your time, I would like to share something with you. I grew up in a small Cherokee community outside of Hulbert called Shady Grove. To be blunt, I came from a rather broken home, and money was always an issue for us. Unfortunately, my parents couldn't always provide the things that I would need for school. And growing up in that sort of environment isn't really what it's cracked up to be, especially when governments and things like that try to conflict with what our culture is perspective to believe and what is demanded of us out of society. However, I found refuge with the Lord. He had always provided for me when I needed something. If I ever needed money to go on a school trip, God always provided in a way where I would be just provided for. When I was hungry, He provided nourishment. And when I felt like no one could understand my situation and the way that I felt about anything, God and the church was always there. As I mentioned earlier, I'm an intern for the NSU Wesley Foundation. I'm blessed to really have an opportunity to reach out to my fellow college students and let them know that there are places they can go and there are people that are there for them when they need it the most. Our programs encompass small groups, outreach, fellowship, and we make sure that we not only provide for the hearts of the students, but also their spiritual lives as well. I'm pursuing a degree currently at NSU for Cherokee Cultural Studies with an emphasis in tribal law and a minor in criminal justice. I want to use this type of knowledge to gain some sort of education where I can help my own people out and at the same time try to do God's will through that education. After I get my bachelor's degree, I do plan to go to grad school at St. Paul's and try my hardest to become an elder for the United Methodist Church. Despite all these great things, I really haven't had a place to stay for a while now, because my parents really couldn't support me anymore, being at such a higher age than I am now. I really couldn't find a place to sleep, but I remember that God will always provide for us, and the United Methodist Children's Home was there for me. The church, the United Methodist Church, has always, now had found a great place in my heart, and I'm so proud and so thankful for the contributions you guys have been giving, the support, the prayer, and everything, and I'm just so happy that the UMC is here to support us. And I'm going to try to see and be excited for everything I want to do for you guys. Thank you so very much.
You know, most of our kids have stories that will absolutely break your hearts. but one thread is common to them all. They needed to be with us. They needed to be with those crazy people called Methodists who have the audacity to believe that lives can be transformed and the past does not have to stay the way that it was. Life can be better. Jesus did not come to be right. He came to make life better. And as we close our portion of the Circle of Care presentation, one of our young people, Amber Wilson, who is a resident at the Methodist Home in Tahlequah, would like to sing a tribute to our Savior who made all things possible. Amber is from Grove. She's a sophomore at NSU, and she is a wonderful addition to our ministry. These young people that you see standing here today are a testimony to the positive bridges being built to the future by the Oklahoma Conference. You help bridge the helplessness of yesterday to the wonderful possibilities of tomorrow for literally hundreds of children and youth in Oklahoma every day. Oklahoma Conference, on behalf of all of these transformed lives, we say a heartfelt thank you for allowing us the opportunity to minister in your name and in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ.
Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came and gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the nail-pierced hands. Wash me in your cleansing flow. Now all I know is your forgiveness and embrace. Worthy is the Lamb seated on the throne. Crown you now with many crowns. You reign victorious, high and lifted up. Jesus, Son of God, the darling of heaven crucified. Worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb. Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came and gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid.
Well, I'm certainly not going to top that. I hope that you got a thank you from our children. They were passing them out on the front. So one of the picture of one of the kids with a personal thank you to the conference. And we at the Circle of Care would like to thank the conference for allowing us another year of service in transforming the world. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.